Okay, I'm going to show you how to loom knit a dragon using just my 50 animal book. Okay, now there is a dragon in here. It's on the back. It's that one right there. But I have had many requests for a different type of dragon. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to go in and take what's here and do like a sewing pattern where you take bits and pieces of patterns and make a whole different thing. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking this dinosaur, and we're going to be taking and doing just the body. All right, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to do the head of the dragon here without the ears, and we'll stick with the spine, and then we're going to do the bat wings. Okay, so those are your three animals that you're going to be using to do this with. Now, I'm going to also show you how to do little claws, okay, which is going to be based off of the lizard here. It has little claws, which is hard to see at the camera angle. Okay, so this is kind of showing you how you can take bits and pieces and make different animals, even more than what's in this book, which is 50. You can make even more, okay? So what I'm going to do, because I think I still have them all marked, is we're going to start with the head. Let's see. I think it's in the Loom. Yeah, it's the fantasy stuff. Okay, so let's get over to our dragon. So we're going to start with the dragon head. We're going to be using a 24 peg loom. You can use a half-inch gauge. You just need a 24 peg loom. Just make sure you use a yarn equivalent. And if you have my book, at the beginning it explains yarn equivalents, okay? So here's the looms, and it explains which yarns is best for each gauge, okay, right here. So it explains this and what size animal you'll get, and explains the yarns to use and what yarns work best with different gauges, okay? So I'm going to be using a 3/8 inch gauge with a worsted weight yarn, all right? Now, when doing this head, I'm going to skip doing the ears, okay? I'm not doing the ears. You can do something else if you'd like. You can just keep it plain. It's up to you. I'm not doing the ears on this one, okay? I'm changing it up. All right. So what I'm going to do, because what it says to do here is it says to drawstring cast on 24, and it says use your main color and go flat. All right. So what we are doing, okay, is I like to hold the working yarn back over the starting peg and weave in and out all the way around. Now I'm going to make an ice dragon, and if you've been watching my social media pages, you'll notice I have made a dragon recently that's really cool looking, but it's a very difficult pattern, and so this is a very generic version of this pattern. This is what I based that pattern off of, but it's a lot more complicated. I've incorporated stitch patterns and that kind of thing, and so this is a really basic version. Take the basics, have fun with it, play around with it, okay? So we're ready to go back the other direction. So we've wrapped our last stitch, and we're going to go back the other way, okay? And we're going to toss those stitches we just created by weaving over, okay? And this is a drawstring cast on flat, all right? And when we're done, we should have all 24 pegs with a stitch on it. Then it's going to get simplified. Okay. So, and the last one should just be able to be tossed. Oh, there we go. All right, so now what's next is it says 1 through 9 is knit. Seems pretty easy, right? So you're just knitting for 9 rows. All right, so nothing special. We're just going to knit for 9 rows. So here's row 1. All right, so we go row 1. We're going to go 1, 2, so forth until you have 9 rows knit. All right. So go ahead and pause the video. This one's pretty self-explanatory at this point. You just want to go ahead and you want to knit for 9 rows. Easy peasy, right? You can do that. 9 rows flat. Go ahead and pause the video, knit your 9 rows. When we come back, you'll definitely want to have your horn color ready, okay? So you want your horn color ready, and then we'll go from there. Okay, as you can see, I have done 9 rows, already started pulling in my drawstring. And so we are ready for row 10, and that's where you're going to have a little bit of a different time. It says knit 3, and then it says work ear. And you'll see it's working ear over 4 pegs. So you're actually going to knit 7, and then you're going to do horns instead, okay? So we finished on this side, and what we're going to do is we're going to knit, need my light better. There we go. Okay, so we're going to knit for 7. I'm going to slip that first stitch. Okay, so there's 1. That's going to count as 1. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, next we're going to attach a white yarn, and we're going to start working the horn section. Okay, and that's going to be fairly easy to follow. The horns aren't as difficult as the ears a lot of times. So when you move on to the horn section, it says to knit 4 for 4 rows, knit 3, knit 2 for 5 rows, knit 3, knit 4, knit 4 for 6 rows, boring a literal on its back. That's what we're looking for, B-O-L-B on the written, okay? And we're working over 4 stitches. So, get you out 4 stitch markers, and you're going to put them on the next 4 stitches. So here's 1. And keep in mind, you're not going to cut that main color. You know me, I don't like doing a lot of cut and attach, so I always try to figure out how to avoid that so that you don't have so many areas that are liable to come undone. Keeps everything nice and solid. All right. So, what it says. Now it says to attach your horn color. So we're going to attach our horn color. Slide that down there and tie it off. Don't cut your main color. You'll want it. All right? And I make a note of that in the book to not cut your main color. Now, what it says to do, section, and it says to knit 4 for 4 rows. So here's 1. And here's 2. Here's 3. And 4. And then it says to knit for 3. So here's 1, 2, 3. And then it says knit 2 for 5. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then it says to knit 3. So here's 3. So we got 1, 2, 3. And then knit 4 for 6 rows. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. And then it says to bring the original loop back. Okay. And that's how you're going to do horn. Okay. So you're going to bring the original loops back just like this. Then you're going to pick up your original color over here, and then you're going to knit the two together for 4. Then you're going to knit the 2, okay? Alright. Then you're going to just drop the blue and pick up the white. And you're going to start right over here, okay? So now that you've knit your 2, you're going to go and put a stitch marker in the next 4. Then you go back to the horn section, and it says to knit 4 rows. Okay, so go ahead and pick up your white. So here's 1. And here's 2. Here's 3. And 4. And then it says to knit for 3. So here's 1, 2, 3. And then it says knit 2 for 5. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then it says to knit 3. So here's 3. So we got 1, 2, 3. And then knit 4 for 6 rows. So here's 1, 6. Okay. And then it says to bring the original loop back. Okay. And that's how you're going to do horn. Okay. So you're going to bring the original loops back just like this. Then you're going to pick up your original color over here, and then you're going to knit the 2 together for 4. Okay, then you'll want to cut the white and tie it off, and then just knit your way to the end of the row. Then you're going to want to knit for 6 rows normal. Okay? But that's the other way you can do it. Say. If you think this first one's too complicated, just do the second one, okay? Okay. Now, I'm just going to knit your way to the end at this point, which is skipping the section with any ears. Then you're going to knit for 6 rows normal, okay? So just back and forth for 6 rows, okay? All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to pause the video and knit for 6 rows. And we'll come back and do our internal decrease, okay? Okay, we've completed our 6 rows, which is our face area. And what it says to do is to internally decrease from 24 to 12 pegs, and what that means. Now, this is personally how I like to do it. There's a multitude of ways to do it, and no way is wrong. If you get 2 stitches, all these stitches on 2 stitches on 12 pegs, does not matter how you do it. If you want to use a whole bunch of little stitch markers holding your stitches to do it, that's fine. You want to use your hook, you want to decrease and then tighten. It's up to you how you do this. Now, how I personally do it is I pick up 11 stitches on one half and place 2 stitches on 6 pegs. Okay. So go on and pick up my 11 stitches. And place 2 on each . Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so I picked up 1 too many. So there's 12. And then you want to take the 11th stitch you picked up and put it on top of that one. And then you want to take the next one and put it on top of that one. And the next one and put it on top of that one. And you're going to repeat this process over and over. Okay? There. And there. There. And the last one. And as you can see, you should have 6 empty pegs right here. Okay? And do the same thing on the other side. Okay? Just gonna lift up the stitches. And place 2 stitches on each peg. Okay. And just pull on your working yarn to tighten those last 2 stitches. You have now just done an internal decrease. All you want to do is go ahead and knit the 2 stitches over. Okay. And then we'll be ready to start the snout area. Okay, and that's going to be pretty self-explanatory. It's not going to be too difficult until you reach the nostrils. And even then, that isn't too bad. That's actually pretty easy. Okay, oops. If that ever happens, just gently put your stitches back on the nail. And that's how you do your internal decrease. Okay, so what you want to do now is you want to knit straight across. I would suggest slipping that first stitch and knitting the last stitch so you have an easy sew-up guide. You don't have to, but that's how I do it. Alright, so you're going to just knit your way over on row 1. Now you're going to be repeating these last 2 rows one more time, and then I'm going to show you how to do the nostril area. Okay. Now if you feel comfortable, you can continue to do the garter stitch area like we've been doing in the face area, and you can keep that ridging going a lot longer than what I have it for this pattern. Okay. Now, next thing you want to do is knit 4, purl 4, and then knit 4. But if you're doing the slip on the end, you have to count it, okay? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to purl 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to knit 4. And you're going to repeat these last 2 rows one more time. Okay. So you're going to knit over, then you're going to come back and you're going to knit 4, purl 4, and knit 4. Okay, one more time. Okay, so we've done that one more time, and then we're ready to knit our way across. So we're just going to knit your way over. Then it's going to say knit 2 and then do a nostril. So what we're going to do, this is going to be 1 and 2. And it says nostril. It says to knit 2 for 5 rows, bring the original loop back. So go ahead and put 2 stitch markers. 1. Knit 2 for 5 rows. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Bring the original loops back. Next thing it says to do is to purl 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then it says to do the other nostril. So put your stitch markers in the next 2 stitches. And then knit for 5 rows. So here's row 1. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then you're going to bring your original loops back on. And take the stitch markers off. Okay, and then knit 2. Okay, and then the next row it says to knit 2, but you're slipping that first stitch. You can knit it, so there's that. Then you're going to knit 2 together 2 times. Then you're going to knit 4. Then you're going to knit 2 together 2 times. Then knit 2. Then it says to knit 4, purl 4, and knit 4. So that counts as 1, 2, 3, 4. Then purl 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Then knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to knit the row. And then it says to drawstring bind off. Okay. Then it says to drawstring bind off. Go ahead and cut your nice long tail. I always like to go to the opposite side. Toss over and pull through. Just go ahead and drawstring bind off, and then we'll be ready to sew up the head and add the eyes and that kind of thing. Okay, so go ahead and pause video, drawstring bind off, and then we'll come back and finish up the head. Okay, so here's what you should have on your head. I'm going to put 2 10mm safety eyes in using the 3/8 inch gauge version. So these are 10mm safety eyes with eyelids. Okay. Now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to close up and sew up that snout close at the back of the head so I have a better gauge of where I want my eyes to be. Okay. So, and if you've done like I've done, you'll have a nice chain to work from. So you can see what you're sending it through. You can send it through the chain and the chain. And my suggestion would be to sew it just a little past the decrease mark, but not much. Okay. I usually like to tie it off the seam I just sewed. And then use this as stuffing for the snout. Okay. Then what we want to do is close off the back of the head. And I'm going to kind of turn this inside out a little bit to try to do this. But if you can't, it's okay. You want to take the yarn and send it through the opposite side. Okay. We're going to do the star close method. Alright? That means you're going to go straight up. Then you're going to go down. You're going to go across. Then you're going to go across, just like if you were drawing a star. Okay? And then back down again. Okay? And then what you do is you pull it. And what it does is it closes in that hole. As you can see. Okay. So then you're going to just send it through. And then what I like to do is close up the back of the head a little. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a couple of stitches. And then you should be about ready to be adding your eyes in. Okay. I'm going to tie it off and shove it up in there as stuffing. Okay. So you can see more shape on your head. It's up to you where you want to put your eyes. Because it's a dragon, most of the time the eyes are going to be on the side. Alright, now what I'm probably going to do is put it at the baseline of the horn and at the base of the snout. Okay, so follow the line to the first decrease and send it through. Okay. You see the base of the snout followed by the bottom of the horn. Okay, I'm going to try to do the same thing on the other side. Base of the horn, bottom of the horn to the base of the snout. Put that in right there. Then you need to make sure that they are even. Looking at it, which can be hard to tell, but it looks like they are. When they are even, then you go in and add the washers. So, at this point you want to stuff your head, but keep in mind you're going to be cinching the eyes. So you want to take your polyfill, you want to start stuffing the snout first. the eyes will bulge some. That's okay, you're going to fix that problem. Okay. Stuff as firm as you can. Okay, and then we should be ready to indention our eyes. So they'll get indented like that. Okay. You can do them more forward facing, but I'm going to do it more side facing. Okay. You can move things around, put a little bit more in the snout. This is more of the art form of when you're making stuffed animals as shaping. Okay. You want to get you a way to go in and cinch those eyes. Okay. I'm going to grab the bottom here. I'm going to do a slip knot. Enough tail to be able to tie it off. Okay, so what you want to do now is you want to stick it through as close as you can to the outside of the eye. And then you're going to send it straight across to the outside of the eye again, as close as you can get. Okay. And then send it back through to the front half of the eye, as close as you can get. Kind of pull it tight then, okay? Then you're going to send it back through and do the same thing over here. Get as close to the front of the eye as possible. Pull. Send it back through and then back out here to tie off. Okay? And pull. Okay. And then you're just going to tie that off. Snip the end and push those tails in. Okay. Then you can sit there and shape it some more. There is the head of your dragon. Okay. Now, we're going to move on to the next part of the pattern, which will be the body, and we're going to be using the dinosaur pattern for the body. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to split to dinosaur in the book. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the body. Okay. And actually there's a neck to it, so there's two sections of the body. So we're going to start off doing the neck. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to drawstring cast on 12 pegs. Okay. But you're not going to pull these tight. Alright. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Push down and go back the other direction. Toss your loops over. Then it says to knit 4 rows. Hold on. Excuse me, it says to knit 6 rows. Okay. So go ahead and just give me a hard time today. Okay. What you want to do now is you want to knit for 6 rows. Okay? So here's row 1. Okay? Let's go ahead and pause the video and knit for 6 rows. My suggestion would be to slip the first stitch, knit the last stitch of every row. That'll create a chain for you to be able to see where you want to sew something up, okay? So here is row 1. So pause the video and get 6 rows done and we will come back. Okay, in the pattern it says to knit 11 and wrap and turn. And what we're doing is we're creating a lift, an angle, so that the head goes up and the neck goes up. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to knit 11, wrap and turn, knit 2, knit 10, wrap and turn, knit 9, wrap and turn, knit 8, wrap and turn, knit 7, 6, 6. All right, we're only going to knit 2, 6. So this count as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, wrap and turn. Then you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wrap and turn. Then you're going to get down to 6, okay? So then it says to knit 9, wrap and turn, knit 8, wrap and turn, knit 7, wrap and turn, knit 6, wrap and turn, and knit 6. Alright, so go ahead and pause the video and get your wraps and turns done, okay? And then we'll come back and do our increase section. Okay, so you should have 3 wraps and turns on this side, 6 single stitches, and 3 wraps and turns on this side. You're going to want to start increasing now. So what you want to do is you want to knit 6, knit 2 together, knit 7, knit 2 together, and so forth, until you have no more wraps and turns. Knit 2 together. Start with the peg you finished with, knit 7, knit 2 together, and so forth. Start with the peg you finish with. Go ahead and work back and forth until you have no more wraps and turns left. Okay, as you can see, there's no more wraps and turns, and we have finished over here. And what it says to do is to knit rows 8 through 19. That's a total of 12 rows. So what you want to do now is just knit back and forth for a total of 12 rows, and then we'll come back and finish up our neck and be ready to start the body. So go ahead and pause the video and knit for 12 rows, and then we'll be ready to finish up the neck. Okay, I have done my 12 rows, and you see this beautiful angle here. Alright. When you draw string, don't draw string it closed, just draw string it to where all the stitches line up nice and neat. Okay. There. See? That's all you want to do. You want to drawstring it to where they line up nice and neat, and you can sew it on. Okay, at this point it says after you do 12 rows, you want to bind off. So knit the next peg, take it back 1, toss the bottom loop over, move it over, knit the next stitch, take it back 1, toss the bottom loop over, and move it over 1. Bind off all your stitches, and then we'll be ready to sew up, stuff, and sew the head on. Okay? So pause the video, get that much done, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to stuff and sew the head on after you sew it up. Okay, so at this point I have bind it off up here, and what you want to do is you want to sew here, leave this open and leave this open, okay, and then you'll want to stuff. Alright, so pause the video and get that much done. Okay, so sew up and stuff, and then we'll be ready to sew the head on. Okay? Okay, I have finished stuffing and sewing up my neck, as you can see. And you have a shorter section here with a longer section here. The head gets sewn onto the longer section, okay? So I do a weave in and out. If the hole's a little bigger, it's okay. You can work it in, okay? So go ahead and pause the video and sew on your head, and then we'll be ready to start on the body. Okay, so here is my neck attached, okay, as you can see. All right, now we want to start doing the body, okay, and the body says to drawstring cast on 24 pegs working circularly, and you want to knit for 4 rows. That was a mouthful. Let's show that. Okay, so what you want to do is drawstring cast on, and like pull that back over that first peg, and weave it in and out all the way around. We're going to be doing a circular drawstring. So that's your first one. Toss over. Okay, we've worked our way around. Now we want to knit circularly for a total of 4 rows. So go ahead and pause the video and knit around for 4 rows. Okay, we're looking at our dinosaur, and what I'm finding is that I'm supposed to be starting on a leg. Okay, but I'm making a dragon, and I actually want some claws on it. And the dinosaur doesn't. What I need to know is how many pegs the leg is being used on the dinosaur. It's 6. So on the pattern it says you're working over 6 pegs, but I want to do the lizard leg, basically, okay? And it's similar, but it's not using as many pegs. It's only using 4 pegs to work over, okay? So that's a bit different. You'll want it to be different, okay? So you need to find where to be able to adjust 2 stitches on each side extra. So what I would suggest doing is doing it like it is on the lizard, starting it out immediately, okay? And then you just kind of knit around to where you have 4 left in the row. So for instance, you do 4 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, work your leg, then you're going to knit around to where you have 4 here and do your other leg, okay? Instead of it being 6 on each side, it's going to be 4 on each side, okay? Because you're going to be doing toes, as I call them, all right? So keep that in mind when you're wanting to adjust your patterning like this, okay? Since it uses 4 pegs for the lizard and 6 pegs for the dinosaur, what you want to do is just put the 2 pegs on each side that you'll be losing and putting it on the back side. And the reason being is you want your legs close together, okay? You can put them in the middle if you choose, but I wouldn't suggest putting 4 in the middle unless you're wanting to do a belly area. But then you'd want a bigger back side so that it humps up more. But this is going to allow it to hump more that you want on the back, okay? So what you'll want to do is go ahead and stitch mark, all right? And because it's a leg and you're going to want to be able to stuff the leg, you're only going to want to do the outside stitches, okay? So I'm going to put one there and count over 4 and put one there. Do the same thing on the other side. This helps you keep up with what you're doing, okay? And maybe you need to make notes, okay, that you're changing this up. You're changing the pattern up a little. It's not a big deal. You're creating something with already what you have, just like buying a pattern with multiple patterns in it. You can interchange the patterns to make different things. This is what I'm showing you can do with this book. Okay? All right. So there you have it. Instead of taking up 12, you're only taking up 8. All right? So you're going to have 4 more stitches you're using from the 12. Okay. Okay, so that's what you want to do. You want to set that up, all right? And you're going to start the leg off immediately. And you're going to knit 4 for 15 rows. Now, I personally am going to do the stitch marker as I slip. So I'm going to knit the last stitch, slip, put a stitch marker on the slip. I'm going to do this method so that I don't have to sew up the legs later, okay? So that's what we're going to be starting next. Okay, so I'm ready to do the leg, and I want to use my stitch markers and be able to mark off because I can add back and don't have to ever sew this up. You can do them without it and just sew it up later. You don't have to worry about this process, okay? So on here it says to knit 4 for 15 rows. All right, that's back and forth, but we're going to knit the last stitch, slip the first stitch, okay? And you're only ever going to bring the outer stitches back, okay? So knit that last stitch, we're going to knit the knit over. All right, so go ahead and put stitch marker on that slip stitch on the end here and a slip stitch on the other end, and you're going to do this for 15 rows. Now, as you've counted, this should be row 2 that we've just completed, okay? So for 15 rows, back and forth. Okay, so there is row 2. This is row 3. And I like to slip the yarn up under that stitch marker, okay? That gives you a little bit more room to work with, okay? Sure that's over. You're going to put a stitch marker there on your slip stitches, okay, because you're going to be bringing them back. All right, so what you want to do is you want to go ahead and pause the video and get you 15 rows doing exactly what we're doing here. So this is row 4. Otherwise, you can just do 15 rows. Okay, so pause the video, get 15 rows done, and then we'll come back and do the toe area. Okay, as you can see, you have a short row section there with all those pins, okay? And what it says to do next is you're going to work on your toes, and it says to knit 2 for 7 rows, bring the original loops back, knit 2 for 7 rows, bring the original loops back. So, what you want to do is make sure that you have a stitch marker on all of your stitches here. That'll make it easier to bring the original loops back for your toe area, okay? And you don't have to do the like slip and knit and add a stitch marker on this section, okay? If you've been watching a lot of other videos, you'll kind of get an idea of how this works. It's really, once you get the hang of it, not difficult to keep up with, okay? So, what you're going to do, you're going to take and you're going to knit 2 for 7 rows. And I'm going to knit the actual 2 for 7 rows. So here's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And because we're moving over to the next stitch, we're going to just be finding our 2 stitches to bring back. So there's that one. You might want to color code them if you think you're going to have a hard time with this. So just pull those back. And take them out. Okay. Going to do the same thing on these 2. Knit for 7. So here's row 1. And 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7. Okay, then you're going to bring the original loops back on those 2. Okay, as again, you might want to use different colors if you think you're going to have a hard time. I do this so often that I don't really need it. Okay. Alright. Put those aside now. Then it says to knit 2 together 4 times. Okay. So here is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then it says to knit 4 for 3 rows. Okay? So knit 4 for 3 rows. So go ahead and I'm going to put a stitch marker there. Alright. And I'm going to knit my way over. So this is going to be row 1. Pardon the noise. This is going to be row 2. And row 3. Okay, I'm not going to put a stitch marker on that one. Alright, so what we want to do next is we're going to do just 1 toe this time. So what we want to do is we want to bring a stitch marker back over here. And we're going to bring a stitch marker back over here. Alright. Okay, so I'm going to knit the 2 together here, but again, you can just knit 1. Okay, then you're going to take and put 2 stitch markers on here because you're going to do the toe business. Alright. Those 3 rows are actually your palm area for your little foot. Okay, so now you're going to do the same thing for the toe, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then it says to bring the original loops back. 5, find them, you're going to bring them back up here. And then you're going to knit those two together because you're trying to keep everything closed off so you ain't having to sew up later. Alright, then what it says to do is to knit one, which we're going to slip that one. Knit two together 2 times. So here's 1 and 2. Here's 1. And then here's 2. Okay, then we're going to add 1 back, making sure we're keeping it all nice and closed up over here, and knit 2 together. At this point, you're going to start adding back. So you're going to take and you're going to add your first stitch marker closest to the pegs on. Not the one farthest away, the one closest. Then you're going to go over, and I'm going to slip that first stitch. I'm going to knit over. And if you don't want a chain to the side, you can purl the 2 together, or you can knit the 2 together. If you want a smooth side, then you want to purl the 2 together. Okay, you want to find the next stitch available over here. Put that on. Slip that first stitch and knit over and knit the 2 together. You're now closing up the leg. Or if you're not doing this at all, you can just knit 15. Okay? So, add a stitch. Now I'm not going to show this again. When I tell you to do the leg, you're going to come back to this section and do this again. Alright? I'll leave you to it now. Go ahead and knit your 15 rows. Alright? Be adding the rest of your leg back. And then we will be going from there. Okay, this is the hardest part to me of this pattern is the feet. But the feet will make all the difference. You can do the dinosaur feet if you choose, because it's much more self-explanatory. But I like this. I want to get the kind of toes and claws in there. Okay, let's go ahead and pause the video and keep this process going until you have no more, or just the last 2 that finish it up, okay, and close it off. Okay, so you have added them all back, and then you're back to adding your original loops back. Now, you'll notice your yarn finished over here. That's okay because you're actually supposed to be finishing over there. All right, because you're going to be adding your original loops back. Okay. And then what you're going to be doing is knitting your way over and starting the leg again over here. But here's what your leg should look like. See? You got your little toes and your back toe and your leg, okay? So next thing's next. You want to knit your way over, and then you'll want to start the next leg. And you're going to do it just like you did previously. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to go back in the video when we started this leg, and you're going to repeat it right in this section, okay? Same exact thing. Alright, so pause the video and complete your other foot. Okay, and we're going to go back over here to our dino pattern. And I'll tell you that you're going to need to do so many rows for your body. Okay, so after you finish your leg, then you're going to knit your way around and knit these 2 stitches together on both sides, okay? And then you're going to be ready to do the body, which is it says 5 rows. If you want to be a little longer, you can do it a little longer. You can do 6 or 7 rows, but I have it written that it's 5 rows after you do a knit to get these 2 stitches back down to 1. So what you'll want to do is finish this leg. Then you're going to knit a row around, getting these 2 stitches back to 1. Then you're going to knit for 5 more rows. If you want the body a little longer, you can do it for, say, 2-3 more rows. Pause the video, get that much done. Okay, we have finished the legs, as you can see. Little legs there. Alright, and you have a couple of options. And we've done our 5 rows in between, as you can see here. Lift it up a little bit. And you have 2 choices. You can repeat the leg again, or you can do the back legs that were originally intended on the dragon. Let me refine it here. You can do the original back legs for the dragon. I think I would like to add some toes to it, okay, some claws, and so you kind of know how to do that. All right, you kind of know how to add claws. You know, there's 3 rows in between adding claws on the little one. So when you do the back legs on the dragon, what you can keep in mind is your back legs. There's 6 rows, so you're going to do 3 rows in the round, and then you're going to do some toes. Okay, so I'm going to just go ahead and finish the body up, and I'm going to do the back legs. So now that I know I'm going to do that, you have a choice. You can go in and you can repeat this and then continue on with the body, or you can go ahead and do the back legs like normal. So you'll just skip the back leg section of the dinosaur body. Okay, so we're just going to skip that section. So what that means you're going to do is you'll just knit your way around. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to knit around. All right. And then we're going to look what happens after that row that had the second batch of legs. All right. Okay, so we finished what would be a leg row. And then 6 more rows. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to pause the video and do 6 more rows. Okay, and when we come back, we'll probably be starting to decrease. Okay. Okay, so we've done our extra set of rows, our extra 5 rows, 5 or 6 rows. Okay, and now we're ready to start working flat. So what it says to do is to, okay, you want to just start working flat. So what we're going to be doing is going back and working the other direction. Okay. I misread it. Technically your legs are supposed to be here in these 12 pegs. So because I moved them and put them here, this will just make it easier. You're just going to start knitting flat. So what you want to do is you want to come back the direction you came and you want to knit for 1 row. Okay. And this goes ahead and starts loosening it up and getting you ready to be able to decrease. You're going to be decreasing every row until you are down to basically 4 stitches. What's next is you want to pick this up and move it over. Then you want to take the other side and decrease it and move it over. Okay. And you'll have decreased your outer stitches. Okay. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to knit those two together, and then you're going to knit around, okay? And you're going to continue this process of decreasing on the outer pegs until you have 4 stitches left, okay? So we're creating our tail layer right here. Now, if you want the tail longer, you can put a single knit row in between every decrease row, okay? If you want a longer tail, it's up to you, but that's how you do a longer tail. So you're going to decrease on the end again, on both sides, okay? And you're going to do just like we did, knit the two together on the ends. All right, so go ahead and pause the video and decrease until you're down to 4 stitches, and then we will be ready to finish up the body. All right, and then we'll be having next to do the back leg, and we're getting right through this. Okay, so I have decreased down to 4 stitches, as you can see. Should be kind of what you're looking like. All right, next what you want to do is you just want to knit a row and then decrease one more time. All right, and then we'll be ready to start our back legs. Okay, I'm going to give you a link in the description box below for the wings so that you know where to get your wings from, okay? All right, so we've got it decreased down to 2. We're going to knit the 2 together and knit the 2 together. Okay, and then I'll knit again, and then I am just going to drawstring off. Okay, so I'm going to cut me a long tail, and then I'm just going to toss over, pull through, toss over, pull through, and if that happens, you just grab it and put it back on. And say you want to toss that over, and pull through. Okay, and at this point what you want to do, you have your openings, don't completely close it over here. You want to sew that up just like that, okay? Then you're going to want to stuff it up, and then you want to snug it up to a point where you can connect the body and the head and sew that on, okay? So that's your next sections, all right? But what I want to show you after that is how to make the back legs. And then I'll get and send you a link to make the wings, okay? And that's the bat wings. And they're not too bad to make once you get used to it, okay? So you just wind that in, and then you're just gonna sew up, okay, all the way down. And this is your body after you stuff it. You drawstring it down to where you can easily line up and sew your neck and head on, okay? Let's go ahead and pause the video, sew up your body, sew on your stuff, sew up your on your neck to the body, and then we'll be back and ready to do the back legs to sew on. Okay, so we want to actually make a back leg next, and as you can see, I've already made one, and I'm going to show you how to make this, okay? This is going off of my standard back leg that I tend to make. If you've made my rabbits, if you've made my my cat or dog or anything with this back leg, it's a standard back leg, but I go in and I add me 3 little toes, okay? And then when you add your 3 little toes, it really gives a more dragon kind of thing going on, okay? So I'm going to go back to my dragon pattern for the back leg, okay? And I'm going to tell you how to add the toes, okay? Now, what it says to do is to drawstring cast on 24 pegs circular, okay? So, I'm going to weave in and out all the way around. Okay, and then drawstring. Okay, and then what you'll do is you'll knit for 3 rows. Alright, we're going to split this up because it says to knit for 6 rows, so you split it up. You knit for 3, then you do a toe row, and then you knit 2 more. And then you go about your process. I'll explain how this will go. Okay, so at this point, you just want to knit for 3 rows. So here's row 1. Okay, so round and round, 3 rows. Alright. Okay, I've done my 3 rows. Then I gotta go to my pattern, and it says on the next place, because you need to know where your placement is for your toes. Even though we're gonna do 2 more rows after this, it says to bind off 8. So you know that's gonna be your front section here. So 8 pegs is gonna be in here. Alright, so you know that you want your toes in that long section. Okay. So, for instance, we're going to be binding off through here, and you're going to have this kind of L shape. And so what you're trying to figure out is where your center spot is in the front, and that's how you know. You go to the 7, and you see where your bind off is. Okay, we want 3 toes, and we want to use 2 pegs per toe. Okay, so that's 6 stitches, so we need to keep 1 on one side and 1 on the other side. So we know what we want to do is we want to knit 1, and we want to take and put our stitch markers on 2 to bring back, okay? It's kind of similar to what we did with the front legs, okay? So you knit 2 for 8 rows, pull the original loops back, knit 2 together 2 times, okay? So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you're going to take this, bring the original loops back. And you can go ahead and put those on the next 2 to repeat this exact same thing. So you're going to knit 2 together 2 times. There's 1, and there's 2. You've just created a toe. You're going to repeat the same thing here and here. Pause the video, get your toes done, we'll come back and we'll finish the row. Okay, you should have 3 toes. Let's see if we can get them to show up. There's toe 1. There's toe 2. into 3. Alright, now what we want to do is finish knitting the row and then knit 2 more rows. So go ahead, finish this row. Okay, and then what you want to do is knit 2 more rows. Okay, let's pause the video, knit 2 more rows, and then we'll be ready to start creating the L section of our back leg. Okay, at this point we're working the back leg as usual. We're in row 7, and row 7 says to bind off 8 and knit 16. Okay, so I'm going to knit the first 2, take it back 1, post bottom knit over, move it over 1. Knit the second stitch, take it back 1, so you're going to want 8 empty packs. Okay. Okay, so we should have 8 empty packs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then what you want to do is knit your way over. Then it says on row 8 to decrease, basically on both ends. So I'm going to sit there and I'm going to take and move those end stitches in 1. Okay, and then you're going to knit the 2 together, knit around, and then knit the last stitch, the 2 together. Okay, and you're going to do this 2 times where you're decreasing on the end. Alright, and you decrease by knitting both those together. Okay, that's row 8. Then we're on row 9. So what you want to do is decrease in. This is your 2 times. Okay. Then you want to knit the 2 together, knit your way over, and at this point you're going to knit 7 rows flat. Just back and forth 7 rows, no decreasing or anything like that. Okay. So now what you want to do is just knit back and forth for 7 rows, which is rows 10 through 16. Okay. So go ahead and pause the video, knit back and forth for 7 rows, and we'll come back. We'll be ready to do the last 2 rows and then finish up. Okay, we're on row 17, and we went to a decrease on both sides. And we wanted to knit the 2 together, knit our way over, and knit 2 together. We're going to do this one more time, and then we're going to be binding off. Okay? This is how we create a back leg. Sewing up is going to be a little bit of a challenge because you're not just going to be able to sew the entire thing up. You have to sew it most of the way up and then leave yourself enough room to add stuffing. Okay. So you've decreased again, which is row 19. Knit your way over. Okay. And the next thing it says to do is bind off. Alright. Go ahead and knit that second stitch, pull it back one, toss the bottom loop over, and move it over. So you're going to bind off. Go ahead and pause the video and bind all your stitches off, and we'll be ready to come back and sew up our leg. Make sure you cut your long tail so that you can use it to sew up. Okay, so pause the video. We'll come back and be ready to sew up our leg and stuff to make it look like this. Okay? Okay, as you can see, we bound off, we cut us a long tail. And this is what you have. This is what it looks like. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to pull your drawstring, but not to full drawstring. What you want to do is mostly just line up the stitches. Okay, like that. Okay, that's your goal, is just be able to line up those stitches, just like that. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to go ahead and sew it up, but you're only going to sew it most of the way up. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take this, you're going to sew back, send through, sew all the way down, sew about halfway here, and be ready to stuff. Okay, so, and what you want to make sure of is that you get the very edges of your leg, okay? I always like to get the edges of my chain. Okay. Alright. I'd like to send this through and then send it back through like this. Okay. Okay. Then I'm ready to start sewing down. Okay. So. Okay, once you get to the end like this, what I like to do is send it through. Okay. Then I want to show that in there. Okay. So it's out of my way. Alright. Then what I want to do is start finding my bridge areas and sewing up the bottom. Okay, so you've sewn up halfway, and now you want to stuff. And just take a little at a time. What you have to keep in mind when stuffing a stuffed animal is that your stuffing tends to compress, and while you think you've got it all nice and firmly stuffed, you typically don't. So you have to Start going in a little bit at a time. Make sure you get it all. Okay. So you'd be surprised how much a little section we'll use of stuffing. Okay. So at this point, we're ready to finish sewing up. Okay. So. Okay. And there is your leg. Okay. Now what I like to do is I don't like to cut my yarn. I like to figure out exactly what I need to do. Okay, so you just figure out the angle. You can do it straight down like this. I chose to want to do an angle like that. You find the angle you want. Make sure it's even on both sides. So what I want to do is send my needle up halfway. Okay. And then I'm ready to sew on my leg. Okay. And I'm trying to make sure I have it fairly even. This is a challenge because there's no specified way to sew on that back leg. Okay? It's mostly an eyeball it. Okay. And all I do is go in, sew around in here, and then I send the needle out and cut it. Alright? So go ahead and pause the video and sew on your leg. Okay, so the next section you want the next section you want is your wings, okay? And I'm going to put a link to the wing video below. And what you want to do is you want to make 4. You'll make 2 on your inside wing. You'll make 2 of your main color, alright? And then what you're going to do is once you make those, what you're going to do is you're going to sew them together. Okay, so I cut 2 long tails, one to actually sew the 2 halves together, and then one will be for sewing onto the actual dragon itself. So what you want to do is go ahead and pause the video, sew your leg on, go over to the wing video, make 4, and then we are just about done. We need to do the spine, and I'll show you how to start that. And it's not going to be as exact. You just want to make sure it's able to go from here all the way back to here. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to start the spine. Alright, so cast on 3 stitches. Alright. Then it says to knit 1. You're going to knit 3 as row 1. Then you're going to knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. Okay, then you're going to knit 3, 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. Then you're going to E-wrap chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, start from the beginning, with row 1, where you're going to knit all the way across. Okay, so you're back to row 1, where you knit all the way across. Okay, let's go ahead and repeat that over and over and over again, and you should have a spine. Right? And you're trying to get it as long as you can, so you're trying to, you may want to measure from here all the way down, and then when you're done, you're going to bind off like regular if you feel like you've got it long enough, and then we're going to be ready to start assembling the rest of this, where we're going to sew on the spine first, then we can sew on the wings. Okay, so we're narrowing down here. So go ahead and finish your spine, and then we'll be ready to finish up. Okay, so I've got my limbs and everything sewed on, and I have my spine. You'll want to sew the spine on first. So I'm not actually going to kind of show you how to do this. I'm just going to guide you where things go. I think I ended up doing the rope chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I did it 14 times. And I'm going to I cut me a long tail. And I'm going to start here between the horns and just sew my way down. All right. Then once you do that, you'll want to take and figure out how you want to sew on your wing. Now you'll want the positive side there and your underside to be white, and you'll only want to sew down half of it, and you can follow it with the line of the arm up front. All right, but you'll want to do that on both sides. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and finish sewing up, sew down the spine, add your wings. Okay, and it's up to you how you want to add your wings. You can add them straight across, you can add them at an angle, but add your wings. Okay, so I have completely finished my dragon. As you can see, there's the spine all the way down the center, and you can see that I went in and I sewed at an angle up. Okay, you see that I sewed the white side down. Okay, so that is how you finish your dragon up. That's how it should look. And that is how you make a dragon using patterns already from the 50 Animal book.